Hi, this is Yvonne Teoh Bource from Connect to Soul with a weekly discourse of soul wisdom for the week of the 12th of February 2018. And this week I really want to focus on intent and the power of that and the purpose of intent and the understanding of how to live with intent on a daily basis. We are very good at creating intentions for long term. For me, I have a broad intention of living my life with love, joy, abundance, and purpose. And that's a wonderful intention, and I really live that. But it's a broad brush intention that fuels my everyday. But what about our daily intent? I'm really very good. I'm a list person, right? And if you read my book, I do encourage people to write daily planner lists because it gets it out of your head and it stops you from regurgitating this, I must remember and, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, which gives you sleepless nights. So I really feel that to set an intention every morning for your day is a little bit different to the planning you have done. For me, intention is about a deeper understanding. And intention is associated with my desire, with my inner self, the inner self that has a reason for being here. It's a reason why I woke up. And therefore it is, what is the intent? What intent can I set for today that is going to fulfill that inner desire? So yesterday I woke up feeling weary. Now the reason for that was because I stayed up a bit later than I usually do. I got a bit caught up in the Winter Olympics. And so I only had about 4 hours sleep because I wake up at 5:30 every morning and I do my spiritual ritual of meditation and other things. And so when I woke up, I was like, oh, really? I feel a little bit weary. But because I'm awake, I really cannot go back to sleep. So I sat there for a while feeling my body, and I went and made my cup of tea as I usually do, and I went back into bed with my cup of tea, and I thought, okay, I need to set an intent. What is it that my body is asking me for? What is my desire right now? And my desire right then was to rest. And all of a sudden, I kind of smiled to myself and I thought, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this whole day with intent to vegging out. Lovely Aussie term, or chilling out. In other words, I intended to do nothing. And when I say nothing, nothing of consequence, nothing of, that was going to have a long-term outcome, of a higher vibration. I was just going to hang about and do nothing of consequence. Which is not very easy for a person who usually is fairly well occupied during her waking hours. So the first thing I actually did was to look at my daily planner, which I do every night. And it sort of had the day, the morning at the top. I crossed that out and put it on the next day. And I went, that's it, that one's done. I'm not attending to that today because my intent is to do nothing. So I absolutely dedicated the whole day to hanging about, to having lots of cups of tea, to reading my book when I wanted to. I watched some television, and basically I just hung about. And I did it with such conscious joy because it was my intent. And I learned something from that. I learned that when I intend something and I follow through, automatically everything feels great. And I realized that although I have this broad intent of living a life of love, abundance, joy, and purpose, which is my guiding force and does come from within, I have not really set an intent for my day. And when I say that, I instantly, because I can't get away with saying untruths anymore, the minute I say something that is not true, there is an absolute ka-chink in my energy force, and I say that, that I'm told off. There's nobody telling me off. There's just a sudden feeling in my energy field that doesn't align. So what I just said is obviously not true. So it's something that my brains come up with, my mind's come up with, but it is actually not how I live. I do live with intent. And because my broad brush intent actually fuels my daily intent. And when I think about it, when I decided to give myself a day of leisure of doing what we would normally say nothing, it was a day that was filled with love, that was filled with joy. It was filled with abundance because every need I had was there. I had plenty of food. I had lots of comfort. I had movies to watch. Everything that I wanted was there, right? So abundance, absolutely. And I felt blissful and I lived my purpose, because my purpose for that day was to rest and do nothing. So I really wanted to get your attention this week and go, how much of your life are you living with an intent? Not so much with a goal, but with an intent. An intent is following the inner desire. And when I looked at what is my inner desire, what is my greatest inner desire, then that's exactly what my inner desire is to follow through on living in a state of love, joy, abundance, and purpose. Ask yourself, what is my intent? What is my intent on a daily basis? What causes me to have a sense of joy and bliss at the end of my day because I know that I followed my intentions? It bothers me when I see people running around doing without conscious connection to the doing. The ad hoc reactionary things of the pure maintenance of life. Hey, I've been there, done that. I have 3 children, okay? Now they're adults, but they weren't adults always. And a lot of that time I was a single mum. So, you get very, very busy and they all have their needs, and often your needs are put last, which of course is back to front. Our needs ought to be put first so that we are fulfilled enough to be able to take care of other people's needs. But, that's another story, and that might be another soul wisdom discourse. But when you look at that and you go, okay, how much of my day do I spend with a conscious intent to actually be doing the things that I am doing? What is the intent? What am I gaining from it? That's really what intention is all about. It's about looking at what is my need right now. A need comes from inside. A want comes from up here. A need comes from down here. I was listening to somebody, I read so much and I listen to so much, I don't know often where it comes from. But the statement really hung about, which was that we don't, I think it was, I was watching, is it the TV drama of Little Big Lies? Yes, that was given to me for a gift. And the statement in there was that we do not always get what we want, but we always get what we need. And that really stuck in my mind. We do not always get what we want, but we always get what we need. Now, what's the difference? Well, the want comes from here, but the need comes from in here. And intent comes by following the need. And the doing stuff, the reactionary doing stuff on a daily basis comes from the want. So when we can identify the difference and we can consciously decide to have the intent of following the need rather than the want, funnily enough, we find out that what we actually needed ends up being also what we want. And that's how that works. So really this week I want to dedicate to the understanding of being able to really focus on a daily basis, to have the intent for your day. Set your intent. Which brings me to, of course, a chapter in my book, which is the daily declaration. And that is just 2.5 pages of statements, which starts with today. And it starts off with, today is the first day of my life. And I will live it with intent. I will live it with love. I will live it with honor and respect. And so it goes on, and it has, I think, I haven't counted them for a long time, but 2.5 small pages of today I will. And it's setting an intent of how to live each day in a state of empowerment, a state of conscious connection. So the daily declaration actually is available as an audio download on my website, and I have put the link down below to for you to follow if you would like to have that. And of course it is in the book as well. But I'm one of these people that I have to read it and hear it and see it before it all clicks. I need to use all of those senses. And so the audio will keep you on track every day. And it talks about today, I will have a beautiful day. Why? Because it's my intention. It has nothing to do with what's going on outside of me. It has nothing to do with what other people are doing. I just intend to have a beautiful day because I'm in charge of my emotions. I'm in charge of how I respond to the world outside of me. And that's true empowerment. It says, today I will be my best friend. Oh, isn't that a powerful one? So the daily declaration really sets the stage for every day with intent. And I encourage all of my students to begin with that. And it is daily until when I look at it now, I just know that that is how I live. So I don't have to read it anymore and I don't have to listen to it anymore. Although if I ever slip, the first thing I do is go back to that because it sets my daily intent for having an empowered and joyful life filled with love, joy, purpose, and abundance. So it's very powerful for you to live with intent, conscious intent. Wow, it's a really great subject. I love it. I think that I have not had as much of a joyful day for a long, long time as yesterday by doing absolutely nothing of what was on my daily planner. I think I started the day and I answered 2 emails, and on both of the emails I said I will deal with this another day because today I'm dedicating to doing nothing. And I sent them off. And that's what I did. But the nothingness of that day was so fulfilling. because of course I wasn't doing nothing. I was doing stuff that really allowed me to rest. Mostly it allowed my mind to rest because I'm a very mind active being. Well, no, that's not who I am. That's how I perform. My mind is constantly busy, and I do need far more to make a conscious effort to still the mind and to give it a rest. And so that is why I get a little bit caught up in mindless TV. At the end of my day, I will watch a little bit of mindless TV where my mind doesn't have to have an opinion or it doesn't have to think about it. It just sits there and goes, because it needs a rest. So making conscious choices for your need is what really intent is about. And then following through with that intent. Is no good having an intent and then going, oh yeah, but I really haven't got time for it. I still have to do this and do that and do that. You can do all the doing stuff with intent. I intend to spend my day taking care of my family. I intend today to do the washing. Why? Because I love clean clothes, right? I intend this day to dedicate to the domestics of my life. I intend today to dedicate to my friends. I intend today to dedicate my day to a project that I'm on. We can do whatever you need to do in life if we consciously start the day by intending to dedicate our energy and our time to that specific task because it's our choice. And there again, that is how empowerment works. It means that you're in control of your life. You're not reacting to it when you get up, and you don't feel like you're being, you're being somebody else's puppet or life's puppet for that matter. So think about it this week. How much of your life are you spending with conscious intent? Doesn't mean that you have to stop doing what you're doing. It just means you have to just backtrack a little bit, and if it is something that really has to be done and it needs to be done for you to have some peace and quiet or whatever, or to have synchronicity, but then do it with conscious intent and say, I intend that to be done and I will dedicate my energy to it. But you do it by choice, not because you have to. Please take the have-tos out of your life. Like the shoulds, they just make you feel burdened. So that is really my intent for the week, is to live my life by conscious intent, and I do hope that you will do the same. So before I started this discourse, I did look for a card. I asked, can you give me something to support this power of intent that I want to talk about? And funnily enough, I actually had 3 cards, and they are beautiful. So I just wanted to share them with you. And the first one was Hope, and her message was a message of love and acceptance. And so if your intent is to live with a life of love and acceptance, then just do that. It is part of how I live, and it's taken away because once upon a time I was such a judgmental creature. It has taken so much heaviness off my shoulders to live with intent in a life of love and acceptance. And then I had this beautiful one, Kali Ma came in, and that's facing the fear. And yes, look, let's have an intention of facing our fears, up front and looking at them. And when we do that, mostly fear disappears. because we look at it and go, well, is it happening now? And usually it isn't. Usually the fear is about what might happen or what could happen, okay? And it's not in the present. So face that fear and let it go with intention and be present. That's another thing. If you're going to live with conscious intent, you have to be present. You have to be here to acknowledge it. Otherwise, you miss it. And the last one that came up with was Odin with psychic insight. And I like that one because what I find for me is that when I live with conscious intent, I have much greater clarity and much greater connection to source and to soul. And when I don't live with intent, when I get caught up in the mundanity of life and the maintenance and things like that, then I feel more disconnected. So it does give you greater insight. Well, that is my soul wisdom for this week. And I hope that you will live your week with intent and that you will dedicate yourself to that intent, and then leave me a message and let me know what it's like when you truly live consciously with intent, and how does that change your everyday experiences. Because I always love hearing from you, either, as a message that you can post underneath, or, contact me on my website, or on Facebook, or Instagram, or any of the social medias, or by, email. All of these links you will find underneath the video, and I always look forward to hearing from you. So have a great week, and we will see you next week. And you can have told me what it was like living with conscious intent. Have a great day, have a great week, and love yourself more. Namaste.